There has been a huge uptake in people buying motorhomes and campervans and hoping to go off and have adventures. And if that's you, then we've got a motorhome buying checklist which you can download. I'll leave the link below for you, and you can get on that and make sure that you know that you're looking for everything that you need to be looking for when you're buying your motorhome or campervan. However, the flip side to all this buying is that there are lots of people at the moment who want to take advantage of the fact that the prices have gone through the roof and they're looking at selling their motorhome or campervan. And we've been getting an awful lot of questions from people who want to sell, asking what's the best way to do that, how can they sell for free, how can they make sure they don't get ripped off, all the rest of it. So I thought I would answer some of those questions today and give you as much help and advice as we possibly can. We've now sold 2 motorhomes. We have done one went to a dealer and one we did privately, not because we meant to do it privately, and I'll get into the pros and cons of those shortly, but because we realised that the dealer didn't want to buy our second motorhome because it was an ex-hire vehicle, which is something to look out for. If you've bought an ex-hire vehicle, apparently loads of dealers don't like to take them. Who knew? So yes, that was something. So let's get into this. Let's look at the main ways of how you can sell or part exchange your motorhome or your camper.
Good time. We're chasing every moment, all the good nights. We're always looking out and it's a good life. We go around the world for a show. And it's a good time. We're chasing every moment, all the good nights. We're always looking out and it's a good life. No, we are never letting this go.
If you're new to the channel, hi, welcome. My name's Kat. I run the motorhome travel website Wandering Bird, where we share tips and tricks for touring the UK and Europe by motorhome and campervan. If you'd like to see more tips and tricks, then by all means hit subscribe and the little bell to be notified when our next video comes out. And if you want to get some free motorhome checklists to help you with your touring and your travel, then there'll be a link in the note that will take you to how you can download those. Right, let's get into this. Selling your motorhome. There are roughly 4 main ways of selling your motorhome or your campervan. You can part exchange it or sell it directly to a dealership. You can use a motorhome broker. You can privately sell it, or you can sell it at auction. So let's quickly run through some of the pros and cons of each method. First up, using a dealership or a showroom or whatever word you choose to use for a business which has lots of motorhomes on the premises. You're going to have a look around them and test out different models, and they have a wealth of knowledge and experience and advice. And honestly, that's our preferred method, certainly to buy a motorhome, because it comes with some sort of guarantee and generally a warranty. But also, if you're looking to sell your motorhome, they're a really good place to start. One of the biggest problems with selling a motorhome is that valuing them is tough. You haven't got that many different makes and models, certainly compared to something like a car. You don't have as many numbers of the same make and model being produced of a similar year. You also have then got huge varieties. You've got people like us who take their motorhome and travel around Europe in it, and the mileage is massive. And you've got people like our neighbours who go down the road every now and then when they feel like it. So they don't do anywhere near as many miles as we do. So if we had the exact same model motorhome, the mileage would be massively different. Then on top of all that, you've got all the different extras that people can choose to fit. So you've got some that have got an awning, some that don't, extra solar panels, extra batteries, refillable gas bottles. All the different extras make a big difference on the price, but then trying to fit a base price so you can get a decent valuation is really tough. So when you're coming to sell, going to a dealer as your first port of call is a really good place to get a feel for what your motorhome might be worth in the current market. And don't forget, there is going to be a huge difference on when you choose to sell. If you choose to sell at the beginning of the season, when demand is really high, then you're going to get a much better price than if you choose to sell in the middle of winter, or when dealers are stuck with stock that they're trying to get rid of. You're not going to get quite the same answer from them. So that's definitely something to bear in mind. But like I say, a dealership is a really good place to start. So phone them up. They're going to ask you loads of questions about your vehicle. And before they will be happy to give you a quote, but definitely give them a ring or go in and see somebody and see if they might be interested in buying your van. If you're looking at buying a different van, so you're looking at moving on to a different model, whether you're going to upsize or whether you're going to downsize, then part exchanging is a good option. No, you won't get as much money back as you would if you sold your vehicle and then bought separately, but it'll make the whole process a lot easier. And if you have a vehicle that make the whole process a lot easier, and you're not going to be left with a situation where you're going to have two vehicles, which is what happened with us, where you then have to insure two vehicles, you've got to store them, you've got to worry about security for them both. It was an absolute pain. So for ease and for peace of mind, I would definitely go down the dealer route or the part exchange route if you're going to get another vehicle after you've sold this one. Okay, moving on to brokers. Now, motorhome brokers are basically somebody who agrees to sell your vehicle, so they will promote it, they will perhaps store it, and they will deal with any potential customers and buyers and people who've got questions about your vehicle, and they take a commission out of the sale, and you obviously don't get any money until that vehicle has been sold on. There are pros to this because you don't have to deal with the promotion or dealing with the customers or people who want to come around and have a look. You don't have to be there for that. But there are also cons to this because then somebody else is in charge of a vehicle which you haven't had the money for and you technically still own. And there's this grey area over insurance, and if somebody goes for a test drive, what's insured? What happens if the broker damages it while in their care? If it needs maintenance or anything like that whilst it's in their care, who pays for it, who looks after it? We've never used a broker. We have heard some horror stories, and I'm sure there are plenty of people who've used one and they've gone absolutely fine for them. But from a personal level, we've never done it, and it's always put us off slightly. We'd rather either sell it privately ourselves so that we keep control of the vehicle and we know what the situation is with it, or we'd rather try and sell it directly to a dealer, and then it's off our hands and we get the money for the van and it's a more straightforward transaction. But that is definitely an option for you. Our advice, if you do choose to use a broker, is to ask them lots and lots of questions and then get everything in writing. So make it very clear when you'll get paid, how long after the vehicle's sold do you get your money, what percentage they take, who's in charge of storage, who's in charge of insurance. All of those questions, make sure you're really, really clear before you let them drive off with your vehicle. And also, if you can, get a recommendation for somebody who's used them before so that you know that you're using somebody who hopefully isn't going to rip you off. Okay, let's talk about selling your vehicle privately. The majority of people who don't choose to use a dealer, even if they're not going to be buying a second vehicle or if they just want to get as much money as possible, are going to be most interested in selling it privately for exactly that reason, that you are going to get the maximum amount back for your vehicle as you possibly can. So there are several ways of advertising your vehicle first. Some are free, some are paid. The biggest and the best ways I would suggest are going to be online advertising. So you've got things like Auto Trader and associated other vehicle sales websites. Then you've got places like online forums and Facebook groups. There are some really good Facebook groups. We actually sold our second motorhome privately through one. And they are literally motorhome buy and sell groups. If you Google or search on Facebook, that will give you up some various links. You can join them, you can advertise your vehicle. There will probably be rules that you need to follow within the group, but they will be very clear on what they are. And you can list your vehicle with as many photos and much information as you possibly can. And hopefully somebody in there, because the people in there are going to be looking for vehicles to buy. So they're a really good option. And I don't believe the Facebook groups charge. I don't believe we would charge for advertising ours in our group. Some of the online forums you do, especially something like one of the magazine online forums, if they have a sales page, some of them do charge. Some are free, I believe. But you might be charged a fee, and certainly Auto Trader, you'll be charged a fee. Then you've got the other online sales platforms like eBay, like Gumtree, and I'm sure there are many others. Personally, we don't recommend either buying or selling your vehicle through them. I'm sure there are some genuine adverts and genuine people, and the problem is it's now a complete minefield between knowing who is genuine and who the fraudsters are. And if you look on eBay at any given moment, you'll see hundreds of adverts which are way too good to be true, and they are fraudulent. So personally, we choose to avoid them. If you do choose to use them, then obviously do so with caution. Another question that we get asked frequently is, if you're selling your vehicle privately, do you need to let somebody test drive your vehicle? The short answer is no. No, you don't need to let them test drive at all. You've got to be really careful with people coming to view your vehicle or they want to test drive it, because they're probably not going to be insured. Unless you have a policy which says that anybody can drive your vehicle with your permission, they may not be insured. Also, you've got to make sure that they are legally able to drive a vehicle, especially if your motorhome's over 3.5 tonnes. Make sure that they have the correct category on their driving licence. But personally, we would take somebody out in the vehicle so that they can see that it drives okay for their peace of mind. If I was buying a vehicle, I'd want to see it going to. Although randomly, when I buy through a dealership, I never do because they have the warranty, so you've got that extra peace of mind. But if I was buying privately, I'd definitely want to know that it was all driving okay. But I would drive it and so that they could see it and sit in the vehicle with me rather than let them drive it themselves. So if you are selling it privately, that is an option for you. Also, make sure that you don't hand over the keys. You can leave everything unlocked so that they can open doors and flaps and make sure that everything works, but don't hand over the physical keys to them. That's just a safety point. And lastly, your last option is to sell your vehicle at an auction. Now, there are certain motorhome and campervan auctions which are just for vans, so they might be a good option for you, but there are also general auctions for vehicles, or even just general auctions which vehicles can be included in. So there are lots of different types of auctions. Again, we've never sold a vehicle at an auction, we've never bought one at an auction either, so I don't know a whole lot about them, but a couple of things to be aware of is obviously the auction house is going to take a commission, so the more that your vehicle goes for, the more commission you will be paying them. And also remember the types of people who are going to be at auctions. You're generally going to get dealers or brokers or people who are looking to get a really good deal. You're not going to get people at an auction house who are looking to pay top dollar unless you have a really specific, amazing brand of motorhome. So you're not going to get as much as you possibly could for your vehicle at an auction, but it is a quick way of getting rid of it. Of course, you can put a bottom limit, so the minimum amount that you're prepared to sell your vehicle for, make sure you do that, but be aware going into that you are probably going to sell it for under market value, because obviously the brokers or dealers are going to want to make some money on it when they sell it on. Right, those are the main ways of selling your vehicle. If you want to get some tips for how to prepare your vehicle for sale, how to deal with money, how to organise your paperwork and all of the other bits that come with selling your vehicle, I'll leave the link below to the blog post where we've detailed all that for you so you can read through that and get all those tips as well. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, by all means leave us a thumbs up, and if you're not already subscribed, hit the little subscribe button. And thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care, bye!
We are out. We're talking about a good time. We're chasing every moment.